Hi, Ray. Thanks for joining me today.
Oh, thank you, Shane, for having me. It's my pleasure.
I hope you're keeping well, especially in today's crazy world that we're living in.
It is kind of crazy. I think I'm keeping well enough. Luckily, I've got my friends and my family to keep me grounded with everything going on in the world. And I'm a big fan of fall. So out here on the East Coast, everything is cooling down. So at least gives me some semblance, some feel of calm out here. So
Well, that's good. It is a wonderful time of year, especially when the leaves start to fall and change colors. That natural beauty.
oh my gosh,
Uh,
yeah.
you're coming up to Toronto this week. Is this your first time up?
My first time in Toronto, yes. I've been to Vancouver and I've been to Calgary, and joking and telling folks, "Hey, look, I'm saving the best for last in coming to Toronto for my last stint with Fan Expo in Canada."
That's awesome. So we're going to talk about Zack Snyder's Justice League a little bit. It must have been such a relief for you when his version finally came to the screen and you got to see your full story told, which is a marvelous 10 times better than the previous version, which I don't want to get into. It's just such he said, Zack Snyder said, you were the heart of the movie, and it really shows in his release.
Well, thank you for that, Shane. I mean, I think you're right. It is a relief. It felt like a release and a relief simultaneously, right? To have to wait 5 years for the thing that you actually worked on to come out, and to have to sit on the idea that there was a better version, or at least a more fleshed out and much more relatable version of the film out there that the world maybe would see, maybe they wouldn't see. Like, I that movie was on my mind every single day for the last, 4 years, and the idea that we finally got it out now. Like, I've watched it maybe 12 times, and every single time I just go, "Wow, this cannot be real. Like, it cannot be real." So I got to say thank you. I mean, obviously to you, because you've been an associate producer on the film, you've been a supporter of the film, but also to the fans out there for really making this thing happen, because it truly would not have without you all. So thank you.
Well, I can't speak on behalf of all the fans, but I think they'd say thank you for putting yourself out there and helping this get made. I know that this weekend, after the DC fandom ended, release the Snyder Cut, or restore the Snyder Cut, was trending again on Twitter. So
Yeah.
there's
Well, the thing is that the fans want the content that I think we all seem to enjoy, right? We want a fleshed out world where there's nuance, there's gravitas, there are all these things, and I think Zack's films and his plan for the universe would give fans just that. Uh, it's tough too, because DC has some of the best villains in the entire, in comics period, right?
Mhm.
And for me personally, I grew up a DC fan. I grew up watching these stories being told in TV shows, the animated series, the films, all of this, since I was a kid. And to kind of see how things have evolved or sort of turned, it's a little disturbing. It's a little unsettling, but like, we'll power through, right? Ultimately, folks that are in charge may not always be in charge. And who knows, maybe in the future, cooler heads may prevail, and we may get the kind of content that ultimately pleases the fans. But I think, when you respect your audience, right, they will respect you in return. And I think that seems to be what's lacking on the side of Warner Brothers Pictures when it comes to some of these things. So we'll see. But ultimately, how you spend your money is what ends up getting made. So
That's right.
I think folks have it made up in their mind that people will just buy anything so long as it's got Batman in it, or so long as it's got Superman on it, like it's just going to sell. That's just what it is. But the fans, I think, realize how much power they have. And I think, once you put some weight behind that power, once you put your money where your mouth is and all of these things, it will make a difference.
So with that being said, if they were to call you up tomorrow and said, "Hey, you want to come back for Justice League 2 or the Cyborg movie," would you be like, "Yeah, I'm there"?
I've said, and I'll reiterate that for me personally, uh, with respect to Walter Hamada and everything that's gone down with Warner Brothers Pictures and myself over the last year and a half, for me to return, I would need some sort of apology about the lies that they put out me in the trade, put out about me in the trades, about the hit pieces, about the rumors and falsities that they were leaking to the trades about the flash film and contract negotiations and all of this nonsense. Like, that's stuff that needs to be acknowledged. They understand that I'm not just going to come back for a paycheck. And I think that's kind of what scares them more than anything else, because all I've asked them for is an apology. I haven't asked them for a single penny. I haven't tried to sue them. I haven't done anything of that nature. I've just asked for a simple apology, and I've stuck to that. But they're going to do what they want to do. And from a corporate standpoint, they seem to be wanting to avoid admitting any sort of fault for anything, which, I can understand to a certain level. But we're at a place now where people, if you mess up, just say you messed up, and so people can move on, right? Mm. It's that sort of trying to hold on to the lie that ends up making people, come at you even harder. It's not about cancel culture. It's about sort of accountability culture, right? And for some people, it's about call out culture. And, you've got CEOs and executives who apologize all the time for stuff, but that doesn't seem to be in the wheelhouse of what Walter Amato or Toby Emmerich or any of these folks want to do. So
that's fair. That's fair. And you sign a lot of your stuff on social media with accountability greater than entertainment.
Definitely, yeah. And for me, I was well prepared when I started this whole endeavor, right? I was prepared for the idea that I would never make another DC film. I was prepared for the idea that I'd never get another job in Hollywood, because obviously the world is not kind to people who blow the whistle. And but we're seeing it happen more and more every day. And I think once that becomes a bit more commonplace, it's going to ultimately benefit the world. So, let's just keep it going. And there are definitely people out there who have risked a lot more than what I have in order to try to get some things changed. So I'm just glad to, do my little part.
Yeah. So I've got time for one more question. That's what they're telling me here. So in the film, Cyborg's journey parallels a mental health journey, right? So he's isolated, he's angry, he's depressed, and he struggles his way through. And it isn't until he finds his purpose, and that with the help of his new friends, which is the Justice League, who have also struggled through their own battles and stuff, that he's able to surpass his blockages or his issues. Do you feel that in today's world climate, that journey can assist other people that are struggling in the same ways?
I mean, I think so, for sure. I think, we are so isolated. I mean, if not before COVID, then definitely during COVID, we've seemed to have isolated ourselves. And I know, me personally, any issues that I may have going on, the first person I look at is me. And I go, all right, well, what am I doing? How am I messing this up? Or blah, 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 right? And it's not until you pull yourself out of your own, for lack of a better term, just pull yourself out of your own stuff, and you see, okay, well, this is where I'm at in relation to the rest of the world, in relation to my friends and my family. Like, it's not me, it's not just me, like, we're all kind of in this together, right? I think people finding a sense of community is it's just super important, even if it is a digital community, right? We spend so much time on social media and in these sort of forums and this and that, right? Ultimately, I think the idea that Cyborg finds a family outside of the one he's born into is something that is extremely helpful. And I think it's something we do every day, right? We gravitate to folks that share our common interests and goals, and people that show us parts of ourselves that we may not have been able to see without them. And that's something special to me.
Yeah, and I love the revelation in the film where you're in the mother box and they pan behind the three sisters, and that's when you change from what you see yourself as to what you are. And exactly. That's just such a powerful moment.
And he sees his new family, the idea that he's having to rip apart this illusion of his family, right, with the mother boxes. And behind that, he sees, his team. He sees everybody there. And he says, I'm not broken. I'm not alone. I mean, that is, there's such small words, but they have such great impact, right? And that's the power. That's Chris Terrio right there, right? Like, like the amount of effort and energy and time and care that he put into this script and into each one of these characters, like I couldn't have asked for a better setup. And you know, I've said it before. I'm like, there will never be another superhero film like Zack Snyder's Justice League. Period.
Oh,
For a lot of
no,
reasons.
definitely not.
And I'm just glad that I got my chance to be a part of it.
Well, I'm glad that you were as well, and I thank you so much for your time. I know you're a busy guy, and